today I want to talk about some things that would make your house good or not good for solar, in case you were wondering. Solar is not one size fits all. Even your neighbor could have a totally different experience with their system than you would. And that is because every house is unique in their roof shape, their orientation, their tree shading, the state that they're in, the utility company that they have, etc. So after looking at thousands of roofs and homes and doing proposals, I wanted to talk about the main things that we look for in solar. The first is obviously an unshaded roof. I'm surprised so many times when I'll drive by a house and I see a huge tree over their entire roof with solar panels on it, and I just think about who set them up with that system, who gave them the shade report, and told them what it was going to produce, because I'm pretty sure it's not helping them too much. Panels are very influenced by the shading that is on the roof. So you could see 50 to 70% less production out of those panels if they're covered in shade by a big tree that's hanging over the roof. Now, a little shade isn't terrible, it doesn't have to be wide open, but if you have a tree, for example, on the southern side of the home that's blocking all the sun, then you may want to trim it or take down that tree before you install the panels. The second thing is roof orientation. So at least in the US, what we're looking for is ideally a southern facing roof, south, towards the equator, so it's getting the most sun throughout the day. Second best would be east and west roofs, which are still pretty good sun that you're going to get, just not as much total production in the day. But with the eastern roof, you'll get more sun in the morning, and western you get more in the late afternoon. The worst side of the roof is on the north, so if the only spot to put panels is on that northern side, expect a decent drop in production as compared to a southern orientation. It's especially nice if that southern side is big and flat, because you also need to put the panels on the roof, obviously, so you need flat space to put it. There can't be random peaks all over the place and pipes sticking out and satellites. So it's not just where it's facing, but also the shape and how flat that roof section is and how steep it is. We don't want it to be like this, nearly directly straight up. It makes the install more complicated and the sun not as good because it's not the ideal tilt towards the sun. The other thing is how much sun you get in your state. There's a reason that solar is not booming in Wyoming and Iowa. They're just further north, so they don't get as much sun throughout the year and they have longer winters. So the same panel is not going to produce as much as it would in Texas, California, Florida. So the southern portion of the United States, of course, is going to have less winter, more sunny days, and more sun, so more total production annually. However, sun isn't everything, because though it can produce a lot, you also need to have high energy rates to have a good return on investment with your system. This is what makes California so good for solar, because they have good sun throughout the year and the highest energy rates in the country, paying 2-3 times as much as a lot of other states. So they see a much quicker payback